We're back here on the John Fourcade Show, and another one of our John Fourcade specials this week. All remaining 2016s, 0% interest for 72 months, right here at Veterans Ford. You heard it right. All remaining 2016 models, 0% interest for 72 months. Come on, man. Come on down to Veterans Ford. We're back here on the John Fourcade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford. John, some pretenders and contenders. Real quickly, Tampa Bay found out just what it was, man. They went to Arizona and they got their butt spanked but good. Jameis Winston, who had really played well, didn't get a lot of help in this game defensively. They went after the small cornerbacks with Michael Floyd, Larry Fitzgerald. Arizona torched them and said, guys, when you get a little bit more experience, then you can come back and play us.
Well, that's the whole thing about Arizona. We knew Arizona coming into the season was going to be a good football club, maybe one of them that could be picked to go to the Super Bowl. Going to Arizona from Tampa, it's a long trip, going to cross country. You're right, though. The players yet aren't quite there on that level to play against the Arizonas or the Patriots or, you know, the higher echelon yet. But, you know, Winston had a rough game. Didn't have a lot of help in that football game, but hey, that's benefits the Saints because they could be easily sitting there 2-0 and they're 1-1, and the Saints are only one game behind them. So, you know, Tampa Bay is going to have their. I don't think Tampa Bay is going to go 10-6 or 11-5 this year, but they'll be competitive, and it's just a game that they lost.
One thing I'll say about Tampa Bay, they're the team to watch in your rearview mirror.
Oh, yeah.
Because they have accumulated some talent, and I think 2017 will be a real good jump for them. Again, we go back to, man, Adrian Peterson goes down on a Sunday night game against Green Bay. One of the worst efforts I've ever seen by Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he was really off. The story of that game was how well Sam Bradford played in that football game. Him and Stephon Diggs, man, they hit it off, and it was a great combination between the two of them.
Well, the whole thing is, you know, when Bradford got there, he only was there a week, and they didn't start him in the first game against Tennessee, and they ended up winning with Hill as quarterback. You knew eventually Bradford's going to be the guy. And I was impressed with him, but the thing is, he's surrounded by a quality football team.
He
got a
ain't
good
gotta be
offensive
the man.
line. He's got a running back. Well, not for now, but he's got some good players on the offensive side of the ball, but he's got a defense. So all he's got to do, you know, people don't like to hear this from a quarterback standpoint, game management. But in his case, all the money he stole from the NFL, he needs to be a game management guy. Do what they asked him to do in Minnesota, and he did a good job this past Sunday night. And I'm impressed. Now, as far as Aaron Rodgers, man, they got some turmoil in Green Bay.
Him and McCarthy
are at odds on something.
I agree with you.
And something I didn't like about it when in the post-game interview, he made some comments about some other players and these guys on here. Well, how about making comments about your play? You know, you can't keep blaming other players. And he's notoriously known when he got up there, the State Farm guy, to be finger-pointing people. And I'm tired of him doing it. I've seen it enough, and I wanted to come out and say this. He has done that quite a bit. When the game's bad, he'll finger point about everybody else but looking at him.
Another situation is happening in Washington where Jay Gruden looks as though he has maybe sort of lost a little bit of control there. Some of the players not crazy about Kirk Cousins, whose also reputation is, it's never my fault, it's someone else's. I think that's emanated through this football team pretty good. Redskins, in a winnable game, lose to the Cowboys.
Yeah, that's a game they had an opportunity to win, and things didn't go well for them in that football game. But overall, you got to look at it. It all falls on two people, a quarterback and a head coach. You the head coach that went with this quarterback. Well, first of all, Cousins is better than RG3. I don't care anybody else.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, now maybe in my book, maybe Gruden's not doing some things offensively that he did last season with Cousins, and that might be a problem they had. They had some good ball players, game they should have won, and they got the talent they're playing. You can't panic after 2 games. I'm not going to panic with Cousins right now. Let's see what happens 3 or 4 games into the season, because this is the division they still can come up and win it.
Easily winnable, but the only bad thing is so much external pressure coming from outside the organization. So you understand that that's going to affect inside the organization too. Tonight, we get to see it. The Texans, Patriots, unbelievably, Jimmy Garoppolo goes down. Really had a terrific first game, played well in the first half against the Dolphins. He goes down with a shoulder injury. And now the third-string quarterback, Jacoby Brissett, comes in. He's got to play the Texans tonight with J.J. Watt and that gang on the defensive side of the football. All I know is if they win this game tonight, man, they can start carving out that bust on Mount Rushmore for Belichick. I mean, it's unbelievable that he would have a shot here tonight with a third-string quarterback who throws everything like it's about 80 yards downfield.
Well, Mike, let's look back at the first game of the season. I believe it was New England going to Arizona without Gronk, without Brady, with a quarterback who's never started in the NFL before, and I believe they won that football game. And then they win again this past week. So they're 2-0. Granted, you don't have a player playing for you, the quarterback who's played in the league, but somehow, some way, this coach and this team finds a way to win. All they're trying to do is get it to Brady in a couple more weeks. If they can go 3-1, 4-0, and Brady comes back, watch out.
All I know is, man, if this team goes 3-1 and Jacoby wins them one of the two last games, man, listen, I'll say it now. I think Bill Belichick, we talked about it off the air, he goes down as the greatest coach of all time.
If he's not there right now, he's close to it.
I mean, you just see what the guy has done. It's just been unbelievable across the board. The hottest team, though, when you look out in the AFC, while New England has played very, very well, there's been a lot of instability across the board there. Pittsburgh has seemingly gotten away from all that. John, I thought they would win the Super Bowl when the season started. Got a little money on hoping that they do. But the situation is the Steelers are who they are. I think they're the class of the NFL today.
Well, if you watch how the NFL is right now, everybody's talking about all these other teams, and the Steelers are just like, I'm going to bring my lunch pail to work every day. I'm going to bring my little hard hat, and we'll see what happens at the end of this football game. That's the way they take. They don't want to be looped in and roped in with everybody else. Let's just go do our thing. I don't care what happens. Let's say when the season's over with, we're 12-4, 13-3, whatever, and then Bell comes back. That's another guy they're going to use, and this is the team. And it's going to come down to New England and Pittsburgh. There's no doubt about it in the AFC.
Whoever's healthier at the end, I think that'll be the catch with it. Talking about coaches already on the hot seat, Rex Ryan in Buffalo. I mean, it almost looks like a collection of Louisiana guys. Rob coached here. Mo buddy Ed Reed is coaching the defensive backs there. Bobby April Jr. Is also on that staff, helping with the linebackers and special teams. But that's a team that, they fired their offensive coordinator right off the bat. That just doesn't seem right there. And to me, Rex is a really good defensive coordinator. As a head coach, doesn't relate to the pitch and catch game.
It goes back to what I was talking about Spagnuolo. When he couldn't do it with the Rams, he became a coordinator, and he shows that he can do as a coordinator job. Mike, but let's be honest here. Rex is a nutcase up there right now with all these guys he's got on board. But let's go back and look. The word that I heard, or I was hearing, was that there was some griping on the offensive side of the football to the ownership group about Roman. And they figured, okay, we're going to make a move. How do you make a move when they played a pretty good offensive game, and in 2 games they played, they've done so well, done pretty good in the offensive side of football. But who you going to fire? You ain't going to fire your brother, and he's not the defensive coordinator, he's just a defensive line coach. And you're going to fire the guy who calls the defensive scheme, and that's yourself, which you're not going to do. So, just wait a while. About 4 or 5 more weeks, you might be seeing Rex Ryan out the door.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me because there's a lot of outward pressure.
And then they hired, then they moved the running back coach to call plays. Never called a play in his life. And never called a play in your life. Now, David Lee, my college quarterback coach, is up there with them too. I would have thought maybe they'd give him a shot at it, but a guy who's never caught a play in your life. Now, you go fire a guy who's pretty good offensive coordinator to a guy who's never caught a play.
Yeah, that doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense. And again, man, the Rams, we talked a little bit about it, having the number of Seattle. That's a shocking situation when you lose a game 9-3. Your defense played as well as it could play. But for whatever reason, Greg Williams has had a game plan up against their offense that has stopped them the last 3 times, and they've whiffed for Seattle.
Yep, Mike, that's it. Take us to break, Mike.
We'll be back with more of the John Fourcade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford.